Huh, look at that. The door's open. Everyone, it is a brand new year, 2016 I am very excited for, and we're going to start things off right. We're going to talk about Kingdom Hearts. Probably didn't see that coming, now did you? Now, as many people are well aware, the series has gone completely haywire and has confused basically everybody with its weird story. And I don't blame them for not wanting to give the series a shot. But here's the thing, Part 3 is going to be the conclusion of this saga, whatever that means, and it's set to release sometime, hopefully. So, to start the year off strong, I'm gonna make a bold move here. This won't be a marathon because I will drive myself insane. Please don't make me do that. But throughout the year, I'm gonna take a look at every game in the Kingdom Hearts series. And it's only a matter of time before I realize how big of a mistake I'm making. This is going to be a mistake. What say we stop all the introduction nonsense and get this started? Whether you're a longtime fan of the series, just starting off, or simply want to know the insanity this series has to offer, welcome to Part 1 of the Kingdom Hearts Retrospective. Kingdom Hearts was released in 2002 by Squaresoft. Yeah, Squaresoft, before Enix came around. You remember those days? Probably not. It was the start of a new franchise that took the RPG prowess of Square and combined it with Disney of all things. What? It definitely shook some heads, but I remember just needing to give the game a shot. I was already a huge Disney fan. Combine that with the hype machine that is the PS2 in 2002, it just seemed obvious. I'll be playing the Final Mix re-release on PS3, but more on that later. The game begins in a pretty weird way. There's an intro video showing the main character Sora experiencing just a bunch of weird things with some really catchy J-pop playing in the back. He's falling underwater, he's on the beach, he's back underwater, he's back on the beach, and it ends with him back in the water. What is going on? Oh no! Went Christopher Walken for a second. This leads into the big tutorial section in a very ominous area on top of Disney princess murals. Here you get used to the combat, pushing boxes, looking at doors. You know, the stuff that kids normally dream about. Eventually there's a battle with your shadow transformed into this giant monster known as Darkseid. Now that's a dream that's a bit more relatable. What? You saying you've never fought yourself as a giant shadow monster in your dreams before? Me neither. Me neither. Sora finally wakes up and is greeted by one of his best friends, Kairi, and soon enough, Riku, on their frequent hangout spot, Destiny Islands. These three friends have a fairly simple dream: build a raft and go on an adventure. And here is where you finally get some full control of Sora, and I gotta say, the game starts off on a great note. I always loved Destiny Islands. The atmosphere is great, as is the music, and for whatever reason, we also have Tidus and Wakka from Final Fantasy X, and Selphie from FF8. I know this is Square just doing a bit of fan service, but it's kinda random considering they're kinda just there for a quirky little optional fight. I have no problem fighting little girls, let's go! A conversation between the three friends showed that Riku is the most determined to go out and explore new worlds. And he also teases Sora for possibly liking Kairi by giving him a special star-shaped fruit to share with her. I know that sounds like a really trivial detail, but that star shape is used throughout the entire series, so it's actually pretty important. I know, just stick with me on this. The next day, after a small fetch quest for materials, Kairi shows Sora a star-shaped charm that she made. See? What did I tell you? It's already begun. There's also this mysterious cave on the island where those two used to hang out as kids. And Sora reminiscing about that is a sweet little moment that gets interrupted by a mysterious person in a full-body robe just spouting a bunch of random nonsense next to this odd door.
This world has been connected.
What are you talking about?
One who knows nothing can understand nothing.
And then, out of nowhere, he disappears. Guess I'll continue my day as if nothing happened. Meanwhile, in the Magic Kingdom, we finally see Donald and Goofy. Turns out the king, good old Steamboat Willie himself, vanished, leaving nothing but a note telling them to locate the bearer of a mysterious key. Joined by Jiminy Cricket, they set out for their adventure. Oh, and Pluto too. Pluto is there too. Cutting back to Sora, a storm appears out of nowhere, and afraid of the raft being destroyed, he quickly heads back to the island when... Oh... That doesn't look very good. The monsters from his dreams, known as the Heartless, show up out of nowhere, but luckily Sora quickly finds Riku.
The door is open.
I just closed... What? Riku, in a very odd state, tells Sora that this is their one chance to leave the island before allowing himself to be sucked away by a dark void and leaving behind the illustrious weapon, the Keyblade. It's a blade shaped like a key. This is the Keyblade. It's genius. Oh, and what? Riku was lying. The door is still closed. Inside the cave is Kairi in a nearly zombified state. Then, that door opens with a huge pressure, forcing both kids out of the cave, but not without Kairi going straight through Sora. Again, remember that bit, cause that's also important. Oh hey, it's Darkseid again, and he's defeated. That was fast. Darkseid, away! Sora gets sucked into the big darkness ball in the sky, and that wraps up our time on Destiny Islands. By the way, I do like how Titus, Waka, and Selphie didn't return to the island. Unlike these three idiots, these three see a giant black ball in the sky and stay home. Probably play some blitzball or something. I don't know, I haven't played Final Fantasy X, but I imagine that's all they do. It's not all bad though. Sora lands in the equally atmospheric Traverse Town. This town is a pretty important location in the series, and it's here that Sora runs into a bunch of nameless NPCs, as well as some more fan service like Moogles, Sid from FF7, Huey, Dewey, and Louie, and more prominent characters to the story like Aerith and Yuffie from FF7, and Squall from FF8, actually going by the name Leon due to him feeling like he let his world get destroyed by the Heartless, and he wanted the name Squall to die with it. I'm pretty sure that's the story. I'm actually surprised Square hasn't made a game solely on that plot point. You know, I take that back. I wouldn't want to give them any ideas. It's here where we also learn that the Heartless are formed from the darkness of people's hearts. Simple, right? Hold on to that simplicity. It will not stay that way for long. Sora thinks it's a good idea to take on Leon once they meet. After Sora regains consciousness, he, as well as Donald and Goofy, finally find out what's going on. In a nutshell, Sora is the Keyblade's chosen one. The Heartless are messing everything up and can only be defeated with the Keyblade, and someone named Ansem is probably behind it due to him researching the dark creatures for a long stretch of his life. The trio finally meet up, take down a special boss Heartless, the Guard Armor, and set off to save all of the worlds affected by the Heartless. And now the game truly begins. I think I made a mistake. Thankfully, Kingdom Hearts 1 still has a relatively simple plot. It's a typical light versus dark story, with Disney and Final Fantasy tossed in for good measure. There are other story elements that pop in from time to time, but for the most part, it's finally time to explore some Disney worlds. There's Alice in Wonderland, Hercules, Tarzan, Aladdin, Pinocchio, Little Mermaid, Nightmare Before Christmas, Peter Pan, Winnie the Pooh, and Beauty and the Beast. Kinda. Most of these worlds follow a similar formula. You very quickly run into characters from the respective universe. The story loosely follows the source material, but with some Heartless here and there. And everything wraps up with a boss fight consisting of a special Heartless, a villain from the original movie, or a combination of both. And then it's off to the next one. And with each level taking only about an hour to complete, it's a formula that works and keeps things fresh, though it's not perfect. One of the things I found really interesting when researching this game is that a lot of people's opinions on the worlds of the series as a whole vary pretty greatly. You know what that means? I am bound to piss someone off on this journey. Are you excited? I am. Let's go! Starting off, you have a choice between Olympus Coliseum and Wonderland, and completing one of them unlocks Deep Jungle. And honestly, the only one I enjoy is Coliseum. And that's not even a full world. Deep Jungle is simply annoying to explore. The game requires you to go back and forth between the treehouse and tent multiple times for no real reason other than just do it and the next cutscene will play. And Wonderland I just find boring, with the entire world being mainly one small forest and one room. It's boring to look at too. Colosseum, on the other hand, is really cool, but there's nothing to explore. Instead, it's a big enemy gauntlet in the guise of a tournament, which is a really smart idea.
I gotta spruce this place up for the game.
Oh yeah, gotta get ready for the games! It's not as easy as it looks. The famous Cloud shows up here too, with his sword taped up for some reason. Does that help at all? And what's also kinda cool is by getting far enough on your journey, you can eventually fight the one-winged angel himself, Sephiroth. Next up is Agrabah and Halloween Town, easily my two favorite. Agrabah is split between platforming on rooftops and exploring the insides of the Cave of Wonders, and Halloween Town is, well, it's Halloween Town, therefore it's awesome. Now, is this simply a bias towards the movies? Absolutely. Genie and Jack Skellington are both fantastic, and you cannot tell me otherwise. On the other hand, the next two worlds are far from my favorites. Monstro and Atlantica are both pretty bleh. Monstro, that big ol' whale, interrupts your flight path when you're going to a different world, making for a really cool surprise, but like Deep Jungle, it is just not fun to explore. It's short, but it's mainly a maze consisting of 6 rooms, blatantly named Chambers 1 through 6. It's not good. Also, how did he get into space? Of all the questions that still need to be answered with this series, this is one I definitely want to know. And then there's Atlantica. Oof, it's everyone's favorite. Where do I begin? Alright, the swimming is not fun, and that is all you do. Heartless spawn all over the place, making it impossible to open up these stupid clams that have really pointless items, and it's a pain to get the items anyway. Trying to grab onto this stupid dolphin is a pain in the ass. Atlantica just sucks. 7.8 out of 10, too much water. Alright, I'm good. The final Disney world is Neverland. And meh. The whole world is just inside of the ship, meaning there are tight corridors and a boring setting. You do get the ability to fly near the end, but it's only used for like 2 fights, one of which is optional. That's easily some missed potential. And lastly is the matter of Beast, who doesn't have his own world actually. He shows up in Hollow Bastion, another very important location in the series, as you'll see later on, and the final full world of the game, not counting End of the World, because that's just a giant onslaught of Heartless. I always really liked Hollow Bastion though. It's huge, has a really cool setting with a big castle, and it does a great job being the eerie final stop before the final fight. Beast is just sorta there, like a big oversized cat. And you can't forget about 100 Acre Wood. It's nothing but little minigames. Nothing great, but a decent change of pace. Also, is it just me, or does Winnie the Pooh always seem to be on drugs? He's lazy, he says a lot of things that make no sense, has uncontrollable munchies, hangs a sign outside of his house saying "Arnig also," and what does that even mean? And will do anything for some honey, including breaking into someone else's house? Yes. Honey. See, that wasn't so bad, right? There's someone out there who's upset, but that's fine. You know, it's been nearly 10 minutes now. Why don't we finally start talking about some gameplay? Ooh, this was a mistake. Being an action RPG, of course the combat system is pretty vital, and it's actually pretty simple here. Many of the battles consist of mashing the attack button, occasionally casting wind to reduce damage, and cure to heal. That's it. That's like 80% of the battles. You do have a few more options when it comes to magic and summons, but I rarely ever find myself using them. Elemental magic attacks don't really come in handy too often outside of Thunder, and I only ever summoned Simba for crowd control near the end of the game. I hear Tinkerbell is really useful on the harder boss fights, but once again, I'm not very good. There is a little bit of strategy in choosing abilities, but not much. Passive abilities like faster MP generation are great, and while new attacks are nice too, battles still kinda boil down to mostly mashing the attack button. You occasionally get some new weapons too, but choosing which one to go with is the tried and true, ooh, that number is higher, so I'll just use that one. It doesn't really help that your party members are useless, constantly finding themselves dead. You can swap in a special character depending on the world you're in, which is cool, but the results are still the same. Don't get me wrong, the combat is not bad, it's actually pretty fun. Button mashing be damned, it is simply satisfying destroying Heartless. Especially the annoying fat ones. It's a battle system that set in motion a lot of cool things for the future, and hell, even the FF7 remake is using it. There are a few collectibles to go for as well. Pages of Ansem's report, 99 Dalmatian puppies scattered throughout the game that need to be brought back to their parents, items to grind for to synthesize better items, including the best Keyblade, the Ultima weapon. But I ain't got time to grind for nothing right now, so here's a picture of it. And Trinity marks, which give you a few goodies on the spot. The final bit of gameplay to go over is the Gummy ship. Ah yes, the Gummy ship. Whoo boy. To get from world to world, you have to go through a Star Fox-esque on-rail shooting section, and I agree with basically everyone else, these are boring and monotonous. If you don't upgrade your ship. You get a ton of Gummy pieces on your adventure, and if you actually take the time to put new guns and whatnot on the ship, I don't know, they actually become kind of enjoyable. I guess people simply don't want to bother with the building interface, which, fair enough, it is really obnoxious trying to navigate through. And no, I have no idea why it's called the Gummy ship. It makes no sense. I think it's about time we wrap the story up. This is going to be a full-on retrospective, meaning I'm going to be covering everything. If you want to keep yourself spoiler-free for Kingdom Hearts, that could probably be more harm than good, but hey, that's up to you. Spoiler warning! Most of the advancements in the story take place in between worlds, and it's here that we find out that Maleficent from Cinderella is the game's, well, secondary antagonist. She gets her hands on Riku and manipulates him to allow darkness into his heart, and believes that that is the only way to save Kairi from her nearly comatose state. And of course, in typical bad guy fashion, that's a load of garbage. Instead, Riku is being used as a vessel for Ansem, whose plan is to cover the world in darkness, and to do so needs the hearts of 7 princesses, which apparently also consists of Kairi. No real explanation as to why, she's just a Disney princess now. Accept it. Oh hey look, the star pendant, what did I tell you? After dealing with Ansem the first time, Sora has the idea to release Kairi's heart, which has actually been inside of him the entire time. Yeah, remember this little nugget? I told you that was important! As a result, Sora falls into darkness and eventually becomes a Heartless. Now, remember that bit because it's also very important. These games just plant little seeds of story whenever it damn well pleases. He eventually finds his way back to his friends, and one nice big hug from Kairi brings Sora back to normal. Spiky hair, clown shoes, loose belt holding up no pants, and all. After finalizing a plan of action, Sora and crew head out to take down Ansem. Not before taking out a random Chernobog from Fantasia as well, which I hilariously labeled as Bald Dude in my notes because I forgot his name. So, from here on out, he will now be known as Bald Dude. Then finally, in a twisted version of Destiny Islands, it is time to fight Ansem. And then Darkseid again, and then Ansem again, rounding off with a big fight against this thing. What even is this? Someone had to design this monstrosity. He's also a ship now for some reason. Where's he even going? Once he is finally taken care of, we finally see Kingdom Hearts. A door. I swear, this game and its doors. Ansem believes the door houses pure darkness, but in a completely corny fashion, it instead houses light. And thus, Ansem responds as if his mom woke him up by opening the curtains too fast.
Lights! But why?
The door now must be locked on both sides, with Sora and crew on one side, and Riku with a returning Steamboat Willie on the other. Sora and Kairi get separated as she returns to Destiny Islands when the worlds begin to reconstruct. And lastly, Sora, Donald, and Goofy begin their quest to go find Riku, Kairi, and Willie, ending Kingdom Hearts 1. And, for you, that's gonna wrap up the first game in the series. It has a few rough patches here and there, but overall it's still pretty fun, and honestly one of the better games in said series. It's also really nice that this is like the only Kingdom Hearts game where you can actually keep track of the story. As expected, the presentation for the game is really good too. Aside from the camera being way too close to Sora, the graphics are nice and clean, with a special mention of the really well done character models and occasional lip syncing. It's kind of odd how that works out. And the music is fantastic as well, composed by Yoko Shimomura, the same woman behind the Mario & Luigi series. Give the entire soundtrack a listen, it is great stuff. One of the best things about Kingdom Hearts is that the games are actually fairly short. This one only takes about 20 hours to complete, making it really easy to digest in short bursts. But we're not entirely done here. If it's one thing that Square knew how to do back when the series started, was how to generate some good old-fashioned Kingdom Hearts hype. Time to go over that mystifying title that is Final Mix. It goes like this. Kingdom Hearts originally released in Japan, later everywhere else with more content, then re-released in Japan with the missing content as well as some new stuff, and that was Final Mix. And until Kingdom Hearts 1.5 HD Remix, which, man, that name is really dumb, that version was exclusive to Japan. Some Heartless got recolored, there are new weapons, enemies, abilities, and cutscenes, upgraded difficulties, the ability to skip cutscenes, which holy crap, I cannot believe the original release didn't have that, and what's really cool, new bosses, one of which is a character that only plays an important role in the later games. There's also the secret final cutscene, Another Side, Another Story, and Deep Dive, both of which show off new characters, heartless, crazy action in a much darker setting, and give you very subtle hints to the next game in the series. Back before the internet deciphered every little thing about a video game in like 3 minutes, I remember this being really huge. There was just all this mysterious stuff that we couldn't get access to, and since Kingdom Hearts 2 didn't release for roughly 3.5 years, it was very easy to build up hype to see what that cutscene meant. So regardless of how you think Square handled the series afterwards, they did a damn good job here. And that is finally it for Kingdom Hearts 1. This resulted in one of the longest videos on my channel yet, which is a scary sign of things to come. This may have been a mistake, but next time on the Kingdom Hearts Retrospective, we're going to take a look at the first spin-off of the series with Kingdom Hearts Chain of Memories. I don't even own it, so this is the next best thing. See you then! Welcome to the first end slate of 2016, everyone! Thank you all for sticking through the video, and no worries, if you want more of the stuff that I typically do, there is plenty on the way. 2016 is going to be a great year, but if you liked how I started it off, click that little old like button and subscribe, because both help me out immensely. And a special shout out goes to my Patreon supporters, Alex Downs, Kodiak Polzer, Mustard Pig, Cone Van Bake, Ben Saunders, Jordan Vanderveen, and the rest of my awesome patrons. It's about time I gave them some love too. Thank you all so much for watching, and with that said, it's time for me to go. It's probably going to involve me opening a door, but hey, what are you gonna do?